since even the early days of log analytics, dealing with high volume data sources has been a challenge. For some customers we speak with, a single data source can consume half or more of the capacity in their log analysis system. With Cribble, we can easily sample these high volume data sources and bring in a fraction of the data while still getting a good representation. Let's take a look at our Splunk instance. In this case, web access logs are consuming an order of magnitude more data than any other source. Now, let's take a look at the web access logs by status. We can see status 200 or successes are consuming the vast majority of our capacity. In this example, we'll keep all the errors and sample the successes. Also, looking at which endpoints are being hit, we can see that /static endpoints are quite popular, but they're not relevant for my performance use case. We can filter those straight out. Let's drill into one event to get an example to use for testing my regular expressions in Cribble. Now, let's start with using Cribble to filter out static endpoints. First, we'll create a new pipeline called noise reduce. To filter only the URIs, which are to static endpoints, let's add a drop function. First, we're going to test the source type. Since these are JavaScript expressions, we can articulate Boolean logic just like you do in JavaScript with &&. Next, we enter a regex to test against the raw field, which matches only if the /static is in the URI field and not in the referrer field. We'll add a quick description to note what I'm doing for future admins. Next, let's use Cribble to sample the successful requests on this same source type at, let's say, 5:1. We're going to add a regex extract function to extract the HTTP status to determine whether to sample. Again, we're adding a filter to only match access combined source types and a quick description. Clicking here, let's open our expression editor, which makes it super easy for us to interactively build a regex against our sample data. We've pasted in the example weblog from before. In our regex, we're using named capture groups to define the name of the field we are going to extract. In Cribble, fields with 2 underscores are internal fields and won't be output to the destination systems. Our regex looks for a quote, a space, and the numerical status field. After we've extracted status, we can use the value of that field in our sampling function. Next, we're going to add a sampling function. Again, we're going to filter to just access combined and add a simple description. Now we're going to define a sample rule, which checks the value of the __ status field we just defined to be 200. In sample rate, I'm going to enter 5, which means that we're going to keep 1 out of every 5 events. Now let's return to the main screen of Cribble, and we're going to configure a route to match all events with this source type and send it down the noise reduce pipeline. Let's look back in Splunk. I've allowed a few minutes to pass by so we can see the effect on the data. We can see the number of events has started to taper off. Cribble stores the rate at which we sampled, so with a little bit of SPL magic, I can get an estimate back of what the original counts would have been. Now, let's check to see how much data we're ingesting. We see the amount of data has also reduced to less than half of what it was before. Depending on the shape of your data, your numbers will look different, but in nearly all cases, sampling can make it possible to bring in high-volume, low-value data sources that have traditionally been very hard to ingest. Thanks for watching our quick Optimizing Your Data video. Check out the others in this series or go to cribble.io/download to get a copy of Cribble for yourself.